Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one, we are going to head over to Japan once again, and we're going to return to a brewery that has now featured on the channel many times before. Now, these guys are still a relatively new addition to the Japanese beer scene, but they've built up a very good reputation for themselves over the last few years. And if people were to ask me about this brewery, I would say that they're probably best known for their different kinds of New England hazy, whatever you want to call them, IPAs. But in recent times, they've been brewing a lot of different styles, and they've done some really interesting stuff actually. So it's probably fair to describe this brewery as being very well-rounded these days, and their beers are definitely worth checking out. But the beer that we're going to have a look at today is one of their latest releases here in Hong Kong as of the time of filming, which is August 2025. It's a style that I've had from this brewery a couple of times before, one that I know they can do very well, and it's also a style that I really quite enjoy actually. So needless to say, I'm very curious to see what this beer is going to have in store for us. Hopefully it's another good beer, hopefully it makes for an interesting review, and as always, I hope that you guys watching enjoy my take on this one as well. So yeah, for this review then, we are going to head over to Japan like I said. We're going to go to Shizuoka Prefecture, which is a little bit to the southwest of Tokyo, right on the kind of bottom, if you like, of Mount Fuji. And to be specific, we're going to a little town called Mochimune, which is just to the west of Shizuoka City. But that means that we're going to have a look at another beer from the wonderful West Coast Brewing. This one is called Spotlight. It comes in at 8% ABV, and this one is a West Coast Imperial Double, whatever you want to call it, IPA. So yeah, we've had maybe 2 or 3 West Coast IPAs on the channel from this brewery over the years, and they always tend to be pretty damn good. In fact, the first beer I think that I reviewed on the channel from West Coast Brewing was a West Coast Triple IPA, if I'm not mistaken. But these guys are of course known for their New England hazies a little bit more, indeed they produce more of those. But yeah, I've always kind of found it a little bit funny that they're called West Coast Brewing. They're on the east coast of Japan, and they're also known for their New England East Coast IPAs a little bit more than the West Coast ones. But yeah, great brewery, and one of the Japanese breweries that I would highly recommend you check out should you get the chance. But yeah, let's crack on with this one then and see what it has in store for us. Definitely nice to try a West Coast IPA from the wonderful West Coast Brewing in Japan. So, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links can be found in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from West Coast Brewing before, and we will no doubt add more to that list at some point in the near future. But there's all the usual social media down there. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The support that you give is massively appreciated, and remember, you can go into the channel homepage and search for beer using the geography tagging system. So just go in there, use the little search bar, put in your hometown, state, county, province, whatever you like. If I've reviewed beers from the area that you search for, they will pop up. Failing that though, you can check out the playlist of beers from different countries. You'll find this one in the Japanese playlist along with a number of other things, and that is of course being added to quite regularly because I do go over there quite a lot to visit my little boy, and I love Japanese beer. But do make sure you check out the playlist of beers from other countries as well, because there are some very interesting things on the channel these days, even if I do say so myself. But yeah, let's go on to my brewery notes then, and I'll tell you a wee bit about West Coast Brewing once again then. So, West Coast Brewing are based in Mochimune in Shizuoka Prefecture in Japan, right next to Mount Fuji and a bit to the southwest of Tokyo. And the brewery was founded back in 2019 by Derek Baston, who is originally from Seattle in Washington in the US Pacific Northwest, and previously he worked as an architect. So Derek originally came to Shizuoka back in 2003, and he would often visit different breweries in the US on his trips home, and he said that he'd always been inspired by the craftsmanship that went into these West Coast American craft beers, and he wanted to bring some of this beer culture back to Japan with him because he felt there weren't really many breweries at the time in Japan that were doing this. But the idea to found his own brewery can be traced back apparently to 2014 when he designed the Shizuoka distillery for Gaia Flow, and this was his first real look inside the brewing and distilling world, and it inspired him to go and visit other breweries and distilleries and to talk to those operating inside the industry. And apparently doing this made the whole process of starting his own brewery seem a lot less daunting. So to prepare a little bit for this and kind of test the water, he founded a bar in Shizuoka called 12, and see if the beers that he was thinking to brew would be a hit with the locals, and it soon became very clear that they would. So they found the premises in an abandoned tuna processing factory in the Mochimune marina, and they renovated it and converted it into a brewery. So the brewery is equipped with a 10 BBL system, which is around 1600 litres per brew, and they've got 10 fermentation vessels in there and 2 bright beer tanks, and they produce between 12 to 20,000 litres of beer per month. Those figures might be slightly out of date, I'll need to kind of inquire about that, but the 3 brewers from what I understand are Satoshi Niwa, who is from Japan, he's the brewing manager, and then they've got Cedric Mel from France and Grant Scholler from the US. But the brewery's mascot is of course this guy that you see on all the cans, the Hop Dude, and it's designed by Simon Henshaw, who I believe is from Manchester in England, and he does the artwork for all of the West Coast Brewing beers. But over the first few years they leaned mainly toward producing different kinds of IPAs, notably the New England Hazy IPAs, but they've been developing a barrel program over the last few years, and they've released a fair few beers from that as well. But they've also been opening a number of bars and tap rooms. This includes Bao, which is a gyoza restaurant, 12, which is the original izakaya, number 3, which is a bottle shop. All of those can be found in Shizuoka. They've got the Oasis, which is a bar in Hamamatsu, and then in Osaka they have the Umeda One bar and Dark Lab, which is like a kind of beer restaurant as they call it. Very, very good burgers. And more recently they've added 2 locations in Tokyo. This is Hopbeat Records in Marunouchi, which is a bar and bottle shop, and then they've got the Room in Minato, which is a bar and restaurant, and they've also got another bar location in Chatan on the main island in Okinawa Prefecture, which I do hope to go and visit sometime. But yeah, as of August 2025, when I'm filming this review for you, these guys have produced 480 different kinds of beer according to Untappd. Like I mentioned to you earlier, they are probably best known for their New England Hazy IPAs, but they do a wide variety of different styles. I've seen quite a few lagers, some fruited sours, and then some kind of like wild ales and stuff like that, and imperial stouts from them recently as well. But yeah, as I say, that's everything I can tell you about the brewery just now. As of August 2025, yeah, it's 480 different kinds of beer according to Untappd. They are one of the Japanese breweries that I would really recommend you check out. But yeah, if you want to learn more about West Coast Brewing, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can of course check out the Untappd page as well to learn a little bit more about all the different beers that these guys have done. So yeah, let's go on then and have a wee look at the beer itself. I'm quite curious about this one for sure, because it's been a while since we've had a West Coast IPA from these guys. But yeah, there you can see the Hop Dude playing away on his double bass there, and there's a couple of Hop Dudes actually. There's one there playing the drums, but yeah, it's the one playing the double bass that's in the spotlight. There's another one round there playing the piano. But there you can see the West Coast Brewing symbol on this one there. Plain silver top on the can. This one is of course a half-litre can actually. Oh, but yeah, let me just pause a second because I need to read you the little blurb on this one, because we always do that with West Coast. So there we go, got the little blurb thing on the West Coast Brewing website for you here. It says, the Hop Dude doesn't cook rando West Coast double IPAs now. Spotlight is a rare brand, new take on the style, showcasing, spotlighting huge mosaic and New Zealand hop additions. We're getting subtle dankness with rich sticky sweet citrus and mango aromatics and hints of pine, wood and grape character. This one also has the body and bitterness of the Hop Dude craves. A bit on the stronger side, reminiscent of the more classic era Imperial IPAs without the old school order. Almost feels like Star Watcher with the dank bitterness style turned up to 11. I have a feeling we're going to be making this one again fairly soon. So yeah, quite interesting. But yeah, that's everything we need to say about the actual beer itself, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Yeah, no, that's all just the Japanese stuff there. So we can go on and actually just have a little look at the beer itself. So to tell you a bit about the technical aspects of this one, so the hops in this beer are Mosaic, Cascade, Waimea, Opal and Columbus. So we have 3 Americans in there, 1 New Zealand and 1 German. Mosaic is of course 14% alpha acid, one of the Americans. That gives you that slightly earthy note with lovely kind of big tangerine characters. Cascade is, of course, the American classic high alpha acid hop, usually about 8% alpha acid. It's grown in New Zealand these days as well, but normally it gives you this kind of peary, sultana type note and a lot of grapefruit and quite a distinctive floral character. Columbus, of course, is the final American one in this. That's about 12% alpha acid, if I'm not mistaken, and it's known for its big kind of spicy floral aromatic notes. So yeah, Waimea is a hop that I haven't come across all that often in recent times, so I extracted my hop notes again on this one. So yeah, Waimea is a New Zealand hop, first released in 2012, gives you 16 to 19% alpha acid, and it's known for its floral spice, its tangerine, and its grapefruity characteristics. So it's quite a kind of old school type high alpha acid hop. This one is, you know, it's good for West Coast IPAs, we can say that. Opal is a German hop. I don't think I've come across this one too often before, but it was first released in 2004, gives you 12 to 13% alpha acid, and it's known for its woody and spicy floral character with a little bit of aniseed in it, and it's also got quite a little bit of apricot character from what I understand as well. So yeah, my first time encountering Opal as far as I can remember, or at least that I'm aware of. And yeah, Waimea, nice to see Waimea on the go again. But yeah, the Spotlight, an 8% West Coast double IPA, this one. Let's get it out into the glass and see what we get, because I'm very, very curious about this one. So yeah, here we go. So, the West Coast IPA is a style that I really do quite enjoy, and one that does seem to be growing a little bit in popularity again recently, which I'm very happy about. So yeah, there is about a half finger of a frothy, I would say kind of cream coloured head in this one. Some bigger bubbles sitting on the surface of the liquid there, and you can see the head. We got about a quarter finger of a frothy, I would have said cream coloured head there. That's faded away to be pretty much nothing very, very quickly. But yeah, appearance wise, this one looks pretty nice. We're getting a bit of condensation on the glass already, but you can see that this one's a kind of pale golden straw sort of colour. Little touch of natural haze to it, but for the most part it is actually pretty clear. So remember, the colour of your beer depends on a few things. One, the type of malts that you use. This goes a long way to determining your EBC rating. Two, length of your wort boil is going to play a role, because the longer you boil the wort, the more the sugars caramelise, and thus you get a darker colour of beer. But any barrel aging that you do or adjuncts you put into the beer will affect its colour as well, but you don't often have to care about that when it comes to the IPA style category. Now, when it comes to West Coast IPAs, there's a few things we should say about these. West Coast IPAs use primarily barley malt in their malt base, and that distinguishes them from New England IPAs, which use barley, wheat and oats. It's not uncommon to use like a little touch of oat or a little touch of wheat in these, but primarily it's barley malt in these beers. And for me, the West Coast IPA kind of has two ends of the spectrum. You've got the more kind of bready, biscuity sort of ones, such as the Sierra Nevada, yes, the more bready biscuity ones, sorry, more like the Russian River Pine of the Elder, or you've got the more kind of oily, caramelly ones, such as Sierra Nevada Torpedo. And just going by the colour of this one, I think this is going to be a bit more of a kind of bready, biscuity take on the style, but it could be somewhere in the middle. That's what I've found with West Coast Brewing's West Coast IPAs in the past. Maybe they're going to be a little bit more in the middle, and this one is of course that little bit stronger at 8% ABV. It is a double. So yeah, the only other thing to say about the appearance of this one is that there's not too much in the way of visible carbonation, but it certainly appears as I would expect from a West Coast IPA of pretty much any description. So yeah, nothing else really need to say about the appearance of this one. Let's go on and have a little look at the aroma of the beer then, and just see what it's all about in this case. I'm really looking forward to it. Oh yeah, I'm going to say straight away, it smells pretty damn nice. Yeah, aroma wise, it gives you everything that I think you would want from the style. And I will say too, it actually does smell as if it leans maybe a little bit more toward that caramelly side of things on the spectrum, rather than compared to what I thought it was going to be from the appearance. So that's a little bit of food for thought there. But yeah, it gives you everything you'd want. You've got that lovely big oily fruity character. You've got yeah, lovely big oily fruity character in there. You've got the nice bready character and the brown sugar in there, but the green component I don't think is overly pungent in this one. I'm just wondering when this one was canned. This one was canned. It was canned on the. Is that going to be the 7th of May? Okay, we're drinking this one when it's about 7th of May. We're drinking this one when it's about 3 months old, actually. So maybe that's why there wasn't quite so much head with this one. But at 3 months old, it will still be in quite nice condition, actually. So the aroma of this one, though, as I say, is absolutely great. But I was just wondering why there wasn't too much pungency from the green component in the aroma. But let's break the aroma down in any case and see what we have. So yeah, the backbone of the beer is a lovely kind of fresh, brown bready, wholemeal bread crusty character. Then that's really quite nice in there. There's a little bit of woody character and a little touch of cracker, as you very often get. But mostly, yeah, you've got some wholemeal brown bread in there, which is quite nice and quite oily. There's a lovely kind of fresh, fluffy white bread in there. And then on top of that, you've got a good little bit of, there's a good little bit of kind of brown sugary character coming out of this one. So this has some nice McVitie's digestive biscuity notes to it for sure. There's a little bit of a kind of toasty caramelly note as well, and a straight up caramel, maybe some fudgy elements to it. But yeah, it's got a lovely big sort of oily type character to it. So yeah, I think the way that this one goes together in that sense is really very, very nice. The malty base on this one, I think, is going to be pretty damn awesome. There's nothing unusual about it when you consider the style, but it's just really really nicely done. At the back of the nose then, there's a little bit of, you're getting the yeasty character out of the beer. So for me, the yeasty side of the beer has a little bit more of, it's got like a kind of sweet brown bready character to it, but it's also got a little bit more of a kind of crackery and bread crusty edge to it, which I do quite like as well. So yeah, that's interesting. And it gives the beer that little touch of dryness in there. But I've got a feeling that there's a combination of German and American malt has been used in this one, but whatever it is, it's lovely. It's really, really nicely done. So yeah, very good stuff. It's awesome. So on the I think we've said everything we need about the malty and yeasty side of the beer. So on the hoppy side of things, for me, the green component of this beer, I think more and more of it comes out the more that you smell of the beer. When it comes to brewing an IPA though, you've got 3 different types of hoppings that you can do. You can do early addition hopping, which takes place within the first hour of your wort boil. That gives you a deeper, danker green component and gives you the majority of your bitterness. You've got late addition hopping, which takes place within the latter half hour of your wort boil. That gives you a little bit of bitterness, mainly flavour and aroma, and it gives you a very bright green component. Then dry hopping, which takes place after the wort boil is complete, is all about flavour and aroma, and it gives you a very bright green component once again. So yeah, the way that all of this goes together in this one, I think, is really, really nice. So yeah, lovely big green component in this one. For me, there's a little bit of earthiness in there. I can smell a wee bit of the woody character that's meant to come from the opal and stuff in this one. But yeah, big floral aromatic spice from the Columbus in there, and I guess Waimea is probably going to contribute to that as well. But there's a nice kind of brighter, grassy sort of note to this beer also. So pardon me, yeah, the aroma of this beer on the green component is really nice. Now when it comes to the fruity character, it is properly old school. You can smell the nice influence of the Cascade in there. It's got that sort of oily, peary type character to it. And then yeah, there's a wee touch of the grapefruit in there. The Cascade for me is quite obvious in this one. I think probably the Columbus and the Cascade. Columbus will definitely have been used as a bittering hop in this one. Potentially the Opal and a bit of the Cascade as well. I think that's maybe how they've done this. Be interesting to see the brew sheet on this one. I think they used to appear on the West Coast Brewing website there, but I think it wasn't there when I checked earlier. But anyway, yeah, lovely kind of oily, peary sort of thing. as well. As I say, yeah, quite a bit of oily pear. The apricot notes from the opal are very present in this one. But yeah, this beer has a hell of a lot of orange to it, and as I say, that's going to be from the Waimea and from the Mosaic in this one. But yeah, it's a proper old school West Coast IPA, this one, with the orangey and kind of grapefruity notes. I would say the orange for me is a bit more prominent than the grapefruity side of the beer. So yeah, I think this is a really nice one actually. The way the aroma goes together in this beer is pretty damn awesome, I have to say. So it gets a massive thumbs up from me. But yeah, I think we can leave it at that for the aroma. As I always say, take a little bit of time to enjoy the aroma of your beer before you get stuck into it. But I think it is about time that we have a taste of this one then and see what it's all about. So yeah, this is the Spotlight, a West Coast double IPA from the wonderful West Coast Brewing in Mochimune, Shizuoka, over in Japan. Let's get stuck in. Slanja, skål, cheers, kampai. Yeah, flavour wise and style wise and things, everything you would want. I can feel the bitterness building with this one, and it's one of the more spicy floral ones that I've had in recent times as well. But I will say, that's a pretty damn good West Coast double IPA. My other first impression of this beer is that it's really very slick and very oily. I think this is a pretty damn good beer. We can say that safely straight away. Big thumbs up to West Coast Brewing for this one. Yeah, absolutely love it. Yeah, it's quite a nostalgic one for me, this. It really does remind me of some of the really old school ones that I had back in the day. Really everything you would want from this, but definitely a little bit more of the grapefruit and the kind of floral spice, and a wee bit of the woodiness as well from the opal is what's standing out for me. I do wonder if maybe the opal that's in this beer, as I say, opal originated in Germany, maybe the Cascade, because they did say a mix of New Zealand and US hops in this one, so maybe the opal and the Cascade in this have been grown in New Zealand as well as the Waimea. But yeah, regardless, it's a lovely, lovely beer, this one, and it certainly has my approval, and this is a style that I do quite enjoy. So yeah, let's break the flavour of this beer down then and just describe it for you more in depth. So middle third of your palate then, the backbone of the beer, you've got that lovely kind of fresh white bready bread crust in there. As you move further forward on that middle third of your palate, there's a wee bit of woodiness in there, and then on top of that you get some Jacob's cream cracker coming out of the beer. So yeah, the way that goes together I think is really, really nice. So yeah, the cream cracker on top of this one, that does linger into the aftertaste and give you a wee bit of dryness. But yeah, on top of that, you get a nice layer of a kind of more wholemeal. There's a layer of a more kind of wholemeal brown bready character to it as well. And then yeah, that does, I think, sweeten up the further you go into it. But then above that, you get a more kind of like, it's kind of smooth, but at the same time there's a little bit of a dryness and crispness to it. You get the white bready layer sitting above that, then the next layer up is a slightly toasty caramelly note, and then you've got that big circle in the middle of your palate there where all the brown sugary and boozy aspects of the beer come out. So yeah. So yeah, the circle in the middle of your palate there, there's a lovely, you can feel on that edge of that circle there is kind of McVitie's digestive biscuit like. As you move further in, you get a slightly sweeter caramel, and then in the dead centre of your palate there's a more dense There's a big sort of dense, boozy, brown sugary note to this one, which I do really quite like as well. So yeah, the way that that brown sugary character in this beer goes together is also very, very nice. Yeah, I like that for sure. So I think that covers everything we need to say about the middle third of the palate. It's a wee bit more brown bready leaning, and the brown sugary notes are more prominent than the aroma and the appearance might have you believe. But yeah, let's go to the back third of your palate then. As I've often said, sweeter flavours come out further forward on the palate, more dry and bitter flavours come out further back, and the middle and back third of your palate are going to have very similar flavours but just at different intensities. But yeah, the border region between middle and back third of your palate, you get that nice little bit of bready build up in there. The brown bread's in the base, the white bready characters in the middle. There's a wee bit of an almost Pilsner malty type quality to this beer, because it does show you a wee bit of dryness there, so maybe that's what's kind of sitting on top. But yeah, the base of the back third of your palate has a lovely, it has a lovely kind of wholemeal, brown bready sort of character to it. There's the Jacob's cream crackery notes on top of that, a more, more wholemeal brown bready character in there as well, some fluffier white bready notes above that, and a wee bit of the kind of what I suspect is Pilsner malt on top of that. And the Pilsner malt, I think, is giving you some of those biscuity notes in this one too. But yeah, above all of that, there's a more dense, there's the more yeasty character coming out of the beer there. So the yeasty side of this one, at its core, it has a slightly more dense wholemeal brown bready character to it. So yeah, there's that more dense wholemeal kind of brown bready character, and then yeah, surrounding that, it's got a little bit more of a kind of lighter, it has got a little bit of a more lighter, more grainy wholemeal brown bread, and then the very edge of it's a bit more of like a white, it actually tastes like a kind of white bready bread crust with a wee bit of kind of cracker through it, or something like that. So that's pretty interesting actually, the way that that goes together. But yeah, the yeasty side of this one there does linger into the aftertaste a wee bit, and it does become gradually more brown bready. But yeah, back third of your palate, you can feel the flavour is taller. Then as you move further forward into the middle third of your tongue, it just kind of compresses down and squashes together that little bit more. So yeah, kind of lingers there. Yeah, I do like that with this one. On the whole, the malty yeasty side of this character for me, it does get a little bit drier into the aftertaste. But let's go on to the hoppy side of things then. So green component first. In the back corners of the palate, there's definitely that little bit of earthiness in there, which from what I gather, Mosaic is going to give you that. Opal, I gather, is supposed to give you a little bit of that. But yeah, as you move further forward from that, you do get a little touch of woody character out of it. There's maybe a wee bit of pine resin in there as well from the Waimea. Remember, Waimea can give you that big pine resin note, and as you reach the front corners of your palate there, you get that big floral aromatic spice from the Columbus in this one as well. So that's definitely there. But round the front curve of your palate, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy as well, and it's got a wee touch of kind of zestiness to it also. So yeah, the way that this one goes together, I think, is really, really very, very nice. Yeah, I really do like how that pieces together. Yeah, the green component in this one is pretty damn awesome, I have to say. So yeah, let's see. It's good. So let's focus on the front third of your palate then, and I will say the bitterness in this does build a little bit actually, and it's proper old school. But yeah, let's go to the front third of your palate then, and the fruity side of things. So the border region between front third and middle third of your palate, you get that nice little bit of bready build up in there. There's the kind of brown bread in the base, the white bread in the middle, then the kind of Pilsner malty type stuff on top. The base of the front third of your palate is kind of similar, yeah, white bready, brown bready bread crust, the wholemeal brown bread, the white bread, and there's a wee touch of the kind of biscuity character just creeps forward there too. Then you get that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters just roll their way out of the beer. So yeah, let's have a wee look at the fruity side of this one then. Yeah. it goes together so nicely. The opal and the cascade, I think, are kind of forming the basis of the fruity side of this beer, but the lingering side, I think, has to be the Waimea and the mosaic, in all honesty. So yeah, if you go to the back of that oily bubble on the front third of your palate, you get the kind of grapefruity notes from which is going to be from the cascade in this one, quite likely, I would say, and Waimea is going to give you some of that too. So the grapefruity note builds further into the aftertaste that you go, but as you move further forward from that, you get this big sort of oily, peary kind of character, and as you reach the middle of that front third of your palate, you can get the apricot-y notes from the opal for sure. So yeah, the pear's coming from the kind of cascadey character, and yeah, the opal, I think, is the one that's giving you the apricot. But yeah, as you move further forward into the front half of that front third of your palate, it's got this big oily, zesty, orangey character to it, which I do really quite enjoy as well. So yeah, the way that everything kind of pieces together in this one, I think, is really, really nice. The big zesty, orangey character, I think, is what's putting it up there. I always loved Amarillo, and Waimea, as I say, is it's a hop I've not had in a while, but it's one that I remember really, really enjoying. More people need to use it. I don't know how much yield and things there is of it though, but it's pretty awesome, and it works very, very well with this West Coast IPA style. So that orangey character really lingers there for me. I love it. Big thumbs up from me. So yeah, let's I think we can leave it at that for the flavour profile of this beer, to be honest with you. It's really, really nice done. A big oily, orangey, kind of caramelly, bready, and kind of floral West Coast IPA, this one. All things that you would want from this style. Let's round off the review then with a wee look at the mouthfeel. So yeah, for me, this beer, I'd say bottom end of full bodied. Carbonation is very, very smooth in this one. It's got a lovely, clean and slight oily slickness to it, this one. As I've often said, Japanese beers tend to be very, very clean and very, very drinkable. The Japanese view of beer, generally speaking, is that it should be clean and drinkable. This beer is one that kind of epitomises that, and of course the West Coast IPA is a style that's nice and clean rather than being creamy like the New England IPAs. The IBU in this one, I don't find that this blows the head off me in terms of bitterness, but I want to say this one's about 80-ish IBUs. I don't think it's the full 90 or 100. And honestly, I want to say that it's about 80. The malt base has a wee bit of dryness underneath, smoothness in the middle, and a kind of slick sweetness on top. The fruity character is absolutely lovely. Orangey leaning into the aftertaste, but yeah, you've got the wee bit of grapefruit in there giving you a little bit of kind of ping, and then yeah, the apricot-y and peary characters coming out of it as well. So it gets a big, big thumbs up from me. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one. This is a really, really nice West Coast double IPA, and I'm glad that I got the chance to try it. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one. This was the Spotlight, an 8% West Coast Imperial Double, if you want to call it IPA, from West Coast Brewing in Mochimune in Shizuoka in Japan. A nice old school, oily, slick, orangey and caramelly and kind of floral West Coast double IPA. You can't ask for much more from this style. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from West Coast Brewing as well, and we will no doubt return to these guys again at some point in the very near future. But until then, check out my social media, check out West Coast Brewing's social media, and I'll see you guys in another review very, very shortly. Ciao just now.